That's why I left. You know, we never saw her. Well, I was shop steward there for 14 years.
Oh, tell me about that. What sort of did you make any advances for
Yes,
the
we
labour relations and things?
Yes, we got on quite well, Mr. Rogers and I. He got us what he could. I mean, he got us, instead of clogs, he got us free boots if you wanted to wear boots, which was better than for us, because when we used to drive the Scammels, the accelerator was metal.
Yeah.
And if you had clog irons on, sometimes, like Michael said, you slipped. But with drivers having boots, we could work it better, because all you had then in the electric was a pedal to make you go and a brake. And he got us uniforms we didn't have to pay for, didn't we?
Yeah.
And he got the drivers all nice white coats and white leggings for when it was raining, which we never had before, you know. And he got us on a Christmas Eve. We used to, if you had it off, you didn't get paid. You didn't get paid like they like you to have it off like that. This is the olden days before Mr. Rogers took over. Now they won't let you go in till dinner time. You had to go in all day. But when Mr. Rogers come, he said, "We'll do away with that. You'll have Christmas Eve off." You know, I said, "Well, thank you very much, sir."
I was talking to Alan Bridges, and he said when he started in 1937, you got 2 days off a year.
Yes.
Christmas Day and
we worked right up to Christmas,
Good Friday,
didn't we?
I think.
Yeah.
We worked right up to Christmas, didn't we?
Yeah.
But,
We got Christmas Day off and Boxing Day.
But another thing actually we got was time and a third, and we used to get service pay for how many years you'd been
That's
there.
right.
After 3 years, was it, Colin?
That's 3 years.
And
yes.
then we got a service pay up to £1.25.
That's right. That's when you'd been there 15 years,
Yes,
wasn't
yeah.
it?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Mr. Rogers, to see, then when I went up to see about a ride with Mr. Rogers, we all come in together. He said, "You know this 125, Colin, you get for," he said, "when you go on holiday or you're working overtime, you don't get any overtime on it." He said, "And you lose the 125 to go on holiday, and nobody should lose money to go on holidays." Now, he said, "If some of your men will agree," he said, "I'll put that into your wages. So when you work, you'll get overtime money." Now, some of the older lads, what had been there a long time, they didn't want that. They didn't want that, because they said, somebody what's new will come straight on and get the same money as we are. I said, "Yes." I said, "I know that." I said, "But at least if you're working overtime, you'll get overtime money, and when you're on your holidays, you won't lose, you know." So to pass over it, I went back to Mr. Rogers and I said, "Someone's happy, someone's not." He said, "Well, I'll tell you what." He said, "If we need anybody to start work," he said, "I'll offer them £1 less on the basic pay, so the lads are still, who've been here a long time, are still getting their money." So I went back. "Oh yeah, they were, oh yes, we'll have that," you know.
Well, me and Colin's always played football.
Yeah.
You know, and we were in ice company, and on a dinner time, we had to kick around outside where the garages, outside the garages.
Yeah.
Of course, and there was a few more at the ice company. So Colin said, "Well, what about forming a football team?" Because we played for Press and all that, hadn't we?
Yeah, we had.
And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, I'll go down and see Mr. Rogers." And the photograph up here.
Yeah.
He said he went to see Mr. Rogers, and he said, "How much do you want?" And was it £300 he gave you?
That's right.
For a full thing.
He gave me. We used to have scrap, what you call scrap, like metal scrap on one side. He used to roll on, and he sold all that, and he gave me the money to go get the all the gear. Yeah.
All the gear.
Hey, fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was. We couldn't have had a better
Oh,
gaffer.
it was a tough.
So what years was he there, Mr. Rogers?
I think Mr. Rogers, he must have been there from about 66, I think.
Till you went, more or less, wasn't it?
Yes.
Haywood came then, didn't he?
Yeah.
And that's when you didn't.
And what?
I don't like mentioning his name.
No, but what was what year was that then?
That's about 79.
Oh, okay.
I left in 79. So Mr. Rogers must have retired in 77.
Yeah,
Because I stopped there about
Couple of years.
Yeah.
Because we didn't see eye to eye. I don't think he liked shop
That was
stewards.
is that about the new?
Well, there must have been several unions because I know Alan Bridges was in. He said he was in the Coopers Union, and that was based in Hull.
Yes, but the trouble is, you see, there was one cooper, one painter, and one joiner.
Yeah.
We all went together at the finish.
And they asked if they could come. They asked if they could come in our union.
What's the name of your union?
What?
Transport and General.
Oh, Transport and General.
Right.
I said, yes, I said, you quite willingly, I'll look after that way. But I can't go ask for rises for you. Because, you see, they wanted to be covered. With this new manager taking over, they were either as frightened, he might say, well, you're finished, we don't need you. Where I could have stepped in and fought for them. And they come in our union, didn't they, Michael?
No, we all went. All the tradesmen went in the AEU.
Yeah, but then you left us. They come in They come in with us first. They come with me
then
first.
they broke away. All the tradesmen went in the AEU.
Michael went in. And you broke away, didn't you?
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I went with Bill Smith, didn't I?
That's right. Yeah, you were chief rigger in the end, weren't you?
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, But like I say, it was a lovely firm to work for.
You couldn't fault it, could you?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Tell me about the cafe. What was it called? The British Cafe next door?
It was the Lumpers Canteen.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It was Lumpers Canteen.
Yeah.
Where the Lumpers landing the ships was about 1,200 Lumpers down there at one time. And as they used to break off, they used to go in there. That cafe never closed. It was open 24 hours a day.
Really? Yeah.
You know.
And it was right there next to the ice factory.
Yes,
and
it
it's
was
been
right on
knocked
the
down
corner.
now.
It was right on the corner. As you come
Yeah.
round that corner, it was joined onto the ice company more or less. And on the top, it was never used, but there was an ice company coal store on the top. Did you ever go in it, Michael?
Oh yeah, well, I filled it up once.
Yeah.
Years after.
So it did work, did it?
Oh yeah, it did work. Yeah.
Because when I went in it wasn't
No.
prepared.
No,
you know.
they altered it, and and of course about the canteen. I was talking to Bill. I said, "We're chucking all these big steel stoves out." Like I said, "What was actually this?" He said, "Oh, it was open 24 hours during the war."
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
She was a nice lady, the manager there, wasn't she?
I didn't actually
Because, well, I say, when I was 15, my charge was getting on a bit, and he wasn't very well this day. So I said, Sid, I'll go get you a nice warm cup of tea, and you can take some tablets, like, because he was getting on then. And of course, I went up to Lumpers Canteen, and it was full. It was packed. And as I was walking along the room like this to get there, one of these lumpers jumped up to me and they said, "There he is, lads, that's him." And they all said, "Not him." He said, "Yeah, that's him." Now I'm going to be I'm not swearing, but he said, "He's slipping my wife while I'm working." Well, I went bright red. I said, "I'm not, mister, I'm not." Anyway, this lady the manageress come up, put her arms around me. She said, you leave him alone." "Oh, he's your little favourite, is he?" You know, she said, "You leave him a lot alone." She said, "What do you want, sweetheart?" I said, "I'd like a nice cup of tea, please." And she said, "You can have this for nothing."
Oh.
And I went bright red, you know, because they used to pull your leg, didn't they?
Oh, this one looked terrible.
They did. They did really.
Yeah.
And we had a good foreman as well, didn't we, Joe Winks?
Oh, tough.
The
Gentle giant.
I didn't know they called him George, so I saw in the paper, but we always called him Joe.
Yeah.
You know, he was all right, you know, because where I used to park my wagon in the garage, he was always late getting his car out, because we used to be like back to where when we went visiting about 4:15, and he was come walking out. I used to say, "Come on, Joe, I've been here 10 minutes waiting for you." He goes, "We've earned your pennies today for your son." Never got excited, did he?
No, never.
Never got excited. "I've earned your pennies today for you."
Great,
you know.
great man he was.
He was, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah.
The first job I had, when I said about my first job, for the first 3 months, I was outside with him on ice shoots, like, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because he used to say to me, "Son, if you drink, will you?" Because every time scrubs as we put on foreigners,
Yeah,
come
they
on,
get
there's all
full,
cans of beer and there's telephone boxes on the wall. And he used to say, "Will you do me a favour, son?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Put your beer in the box." Not like this other gentleman here who was working with us, because at the end of the day they were paralytic, you know.
And one was on the
What,
phone.
people who work for the ice company?
Yeah.
Outside.
One worked for the ice company and one worked for the exchange.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and Joe was the top foreman.
Yeah.
And
He never drunk, did he?
No, he used to say to me, whatever you do, take your beer home with you, because I mean, we don't remember 15, 20 cans at the end of
I've
the day.
even seen him pull a trawler in on
yeah.
it with his own.
Yeah, strong man.
When the boat was front there like that out there, and they used to have a capstan, didn't they? When they put the rope round to pull it in, but it wasn't far enough in, so he said, "Don't stop the captain." And he got this rope and he pulled like this, and the big trawler come right in like this.
I was on the capstan one day, and there's a rust, I don't know, it was rust tiger.
Yes.
And the painters for Ross's was painting the boat at the back. And Joe said to me, put a turn on the capstan and pull it in. Because I mean, it was there till 10 o'clock every night, more or less, ice and trawlers.
Yeah.
So he wanted them one out, and the tugs was there, just
taking him in and one out.
So I got the capstan, the rope around the capstan. He said, "Heave on it, Mike, heave on it." These painters at the back, and the big flagpole, and the Ross Tiger at the back.
Remember that?
Of course, he did the other thing and snapped the pole off. It fell in. I mean, the pole was that fell in the water. These Ross painters said, "Well, that's a nice job." He said, "It's his fault." I said, "You told me to pull it in." Yeah. But he was a gentleman, wasn't he?
And I used to deliver down the back lanes, and there wasn't much room. There was really for horse and carts. They were built for them, not wagons passing each other.
Yeah.
Can you remember?
I was there.
Yeah, you was there. And then when the extension was running, because we used to have the extension as well as the main factory, Michael, I remember Michael was stood there and Joe was with him, and there was a wagon here, and I had to come out, and there was a lamppost there. And I got the front through, but I couldn't get the trailer sides through. So I backed up a little bit, and Joe said, "Come on, you get through there." I said, "I can't, Joe, I can't get you caught." He said, "I thought you was a driver." I said, "I am." He said, "Come on." He said, he jumped down, "Get out," he said. He jumped in my...
He jumped in the edge, he started driving, in the post, the lamp post went like that, he bent right over.
We thought it was going to fall down,
and of course I was on the pontoon, on the stage, and we were all clapping. Joe said, "That's what you call the driver." Yeah, when the
But wait, did you lose your bonus again then on that one?
Oh no, it wasn't me. No, we got through. The lamppost didn't fall.
No, it came back.
But and then there was one day, Mr. McBain was very tight with money, wasn't he?
Oh, we would not have.
If you had to have a new tyre on your trailer, he used to say, "What you been doing with that? Well, you might have done so many miles, you know." Anyway, when they did away with the railway wagons, they started ripping the railway lines up. And there was one called Jim Parnham, bless him, he's dead now,
I
isn't he?
just showed a photograph of him.
Yeah, he's dead now.
Yeah,
but he was coming round, they just put a brand new... They just put a brand new tyre on his trailer. And as he come round this corner, you see, you always had to swing out a little bit, because when you come round the corner, your trailer cut in. So you had to do a bit extra to come round. Well, Jim just come round ordinary, and this railway line went straight through his brand new tyre, didn't it?
Yeah.
And he had to go see Mr. McBain. And he said, "We've just put a brand new tyre on that one." He said, "What have you done?" He said, "Well, the railway was stuck up," and he said, "It went through my tyre." He said, "Well, why didn't you ground it a little bit more?" He said, "I didn't think."
Yeah. Poor Jim, I used to park my car, you know, the extension that where the trains used to go through. We used to park our cars down there, and the cement mixers down there. Anyway, we had 2 or 3 apprentices in the fitting shop. I was doing a conveyor on the floor, and Simon come running in, and he said, "Jim Parnham's at your car down the lane with his mixer." I said, "You what?" So I flew out the thing, ran down the lane and all that. He was having me on. You know, I went back and said, "You little devil," and all that. The next day, come running in beside me, he said, "Jim Parnham's at you." I said, "You're not having me again." He said, "I'm not kidding, Mike. He has it in your car." I said, "You what?" And it was about 20 yards down the thing with Barry Bowman.
Yeah.
Barry Bowman says, "Sonley will kill you when he comes out there." I looked at my car, all my body was all bent up and all that.
Yeah.
I said, "You can come here, Jim." I said, "You know, I ain't going to touch you." I said, "It's done now." But the firm played.
Oh, that's good. Because I've heard stories about earlier that the fitters would do people's cars. I mean, they were very, very talented, were they not?
Yeah. And there was one. I'd left this time, but Roy and Barry, what worked on the pontoon, was telling me about Jim. Bless him. He used to have a few accidents.
Oh, he did. He was accident prone.
He was accident prone.
He nearly knocked the wall down the extension back in, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
He hit the wall.
Well, do you know the Lumpers Canteen?
Yeah.
There used to be an iron rack in that garage.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that's fine. And when you was backing in you had to swerve round a little bit, bend it round,
I remember, yeah.
so you didn't hit this.
Yes, yeah.
But when Jim got there and they put me to the other, because I had a bigger trailer then, and I had to go into that side, Jim was backing in this one, and he kept hitting this iron rack. And every time he hit it, it was knocking the wall, of the lumpers down.
Yeah.
So they had to take the iron rack out, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah.
And then this particular time, Roy said, he's done it again. I said, who? He said, Jim. He said, Barry and I was sitting in the wagon watching Jim backing because it was raining. He said he had his window wiper going. He said he's backing in, and Barry said to me, Jim's going to hit that wagon. He's going to hit that van. He said, no, he'll see that. He'll stop. He said, he's not stopping. And he went with that. It went crunch. And then Roy jumped out. He said, why didn't you? He said, well, the window wiper wasn't taking the rain away across. He said, you're not supposed to look that way. You're supposed to look backwards when you're back in. Did he?
You're just jumping in there. The biggest laugh we ever had there, you can ask Colin. Under the garages where the Scammels went, we all put our cars in there.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
Put our cars in.
Yeah.
So Raymond, as Lurch as we call him,
Oh,
one of the
Lurch,
drivers,
he was a...
he had an Austin A40 car.
Yeah.
And he just had a new wing put on one side.
What year was this?
That would be before you...
Before I left.
Before you left.
Yeah.
So he was all scrapping overtime was Lurch.
Yeah.
And because they wanted the cars out to back his wagon in. So we said to Dave, you would, of course, with the what they call it on the Scammell, only 2 pedals.
Yeah.
So we said to Dave, you would get in Lurch's car and we'll push you. So you know where the pontoon is at that side,
Yeah.
from where the garage is, the Lumpers canteen. He got in, we got the car, pushed it out the guys, you went out clappers, and he pressed his foot on the clutch.
No.
And went no, he went straight to the pontoon and crunched all the front end. And Lurch was filling up with his wagon. Didn't he?
We all shot
Oh.
he left Dave in
Yeah.
we left Dave there. Not us.
Oh no, smashed all the front end.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
We had some laughs, didn't we?
oh, I was just a laugh a minute. It
Yeah.
was not half.
And I mean, for all the men working there wasn't...
No, aggro. But
not much aggro, was there?
No,
man?
no.
There wasn't, you know.
No, there was.
It was just... I liked it better before this other firm took over. It was a smashing firm. The gaffer, if he saw you, Mr. Wright, he used to say, good morning. And good morning, where the other one used to walk straight past you. You know. Because I had to go see him one day, he didn't like union people. He was dead against it. And I had to go see him one day, Jack and I, who's dead now, Jack Thompson, bless him. And I heard him chafing at one of the girls in the office, really giving her some stick, you know. And she was in tears. And when he come out, I said, there's no need for that. He said, not to do with you. I said, for you being a manager, you should have more respect. I said, if you're going to chafe at anybody, check them in your office and tell them, not strip them down in front of the girls, you know, because with me being shocked to it, I didn't care what I said to him, you know.
So, see, I served with him after Colin had thing,
Yeah.
but I got on with him all right. But
Yeah.
the problem was his wife had heart trouble, and I think a lot of it was to do with that. And she was German, and she wore the, you know, trousers definitely.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Yeah.
what a lot, because I mean I got on with him like a house on fire, but I know some people like Teddy Haynes in the store.
Yeah.
He used to put his car in there.
Yeah.
And there used to be a rag bag where he used to clean it, and
That's
because there was
right.
a button, and Ted scratched his car. He
Yeah,
didn't
oh.
by accident, like, you know,
Yeah.
and he went berserk. You
Yeah,
know,
he
but,
did.
but,
I pulled up at a fish house and was tipping some ice to the fish. He wanted about 5 kit of ice, which we tipped. And then Tony, my charge hand, what was set with it, he said, hey, there's the gaffer coming up. Shan't mention his name. He said, the gaffer's coming up. Well, I saw by his face it was stern. He said, got a new job for you lads. I said, what's that? He said, icing trollers up with your wagons.
yeah.
I said, you must be joking. I said, he said, well, you used to before. I said, no, he didn't. He said, I've been told you did. I said, well, you've been told wrong. I said, what we have done, if a snibby's come in and it's been really hot and the sun's been beating down on his fish room and he's not landing till the next morning, we've tipped 5 kit of ice over and they've put it over the fish room. I said, the reason you want us to do this is because you've got rid of one of your, you've made one of your heavy gangs redundant? I said, instead of having 3 now, you've got 2 and you want us to fill in. I said, we're not doing it.
But
You know?
after Colin had left there, they had to do it. But it was a conveyor onto the ship.
That's
And
right.
they fed it. And Dave Hewitt had to go down there, and they come flying back. Mike, you've got to go down there. I said, what do you mean? He said, Dave Hewitt's got the conveyor on the ship. He pulled the blocks out, and he'd have rolled and fell to the ship, like, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I think after that, I think they knocked it on the head then.
Yeah, but he wanted me. And then there's one day, there's 1 week I'd been on my holidays. And they just bought this new 4-wheeler. Remember the 4-wheeler?
Yeah, that Bedford, yeah.
That Bedford, and of course I had to drive it with driving the gears. But I'd been on my holidays, and the week before, Lurch had it, or we call Lurch, and he'd banged the front in. It was all like that. Of course, this manager come marching up. I saw his face again, and Tony, the man chat, he said, he's going to have a go at you, he's going to have a go at you. I said, all right. He says, when did you do this in the front? He said, do you know, it's expensive to repair these. He said, you're supposed to look, we said, we ain't had this wagon long. He said, it's a new 4-wheeler we got, and he said, no, you busted the front in. Because I was shop steward, you see, he had to go. I said, excuse me, sir. I said, I didn't do this. I said, I was on my holidays when this was done. I didn't do it. With that, he walked away. You know. So,
yeah, we had some great times, didn't we?
I think he was glad when I left.
Oh, yeah. Well, Mike Sanderson's like me. He got transferred round to the exchange, like, you know.
Yeah.
And then when Davies took it over, he called us and wanted to, well, he said, I can't run this company exchange as it is now. So out of 14, 7 can stay and 7's got to go. Well, Mike had to go then.
Yeah.
And I went to cheerio in his office, like, you know, and I had a lump in my throat.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Sanderson, great bloke.
He was there when he was there before me.
Oh, yeah.
He was apprentice fitter.
Yeah, he was, I remember that.
Yeah.
And I said to him, of course, and they call you in 1 at a time. And I was lucky enough, he said, we're going to keep you, like, you know, and 7 had to go. But he was another chap I didn't get on with one bit at the new ice factory, Davies.
Oh, him. I
I
went there to get some ice for a fish merchant, and he said, oh, another one of the old ice companies. Of course, I said, yours won't keep in touch with that. I said, you've got 1 conveyor here.
Yeah.
I said, we had 7.
I was just saying earlier on, when we closed it down, and the sea netters was coming round and saying, can we have some ice? I said, I'm sorry. I said, the place is closed down. I said, they'd give me a fortune for ice because that other stuff was no good.
The day the ice company closed down, because they took the new one over, they had to pull 60 tonne out of there because they run out, they couldn't supply it all. Didn't they, Michael?
Yeah. I don't suppose.
So it was the Grimsby Exchange owned the other ice company, and they decided to
No, they didn't own that. It was owned by a different firm, privately owned. I think he owned it from Hull.
Okay.
He run Hull, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Well,
he had one at Hull.
Yeah.
Ice factory at Hull.
You see,
flake ice.
Yeah.
That's right, and that didn't last long
No.
when the sun was out.
Right.
No.
Because it used to run off like water.
Yeah.
No,
Ours was all right, wasn't it?
Lump ice.
Yeah.
And then we made it fine because we put a finer crusher outside.
That's right.
For fish mitts, so it didn't damage the fish.
Yeah.
So they could have a bigger lump ice or a smaller
Oh,
stuff.
okay, so you can have either or.
Yeah, if you look outside, you can see platforms, and we put these small crushers in.
Yeah.
So if you was a fish merchant and wanted to pack fish, you know,
Yeah.
instead of damaging it with the bigger stuff,
Yeah.
that's what we did.
Yeah. But a lot of fish merchants liked the bigger stuff because it lasted longer.
Oh yeah.
You know, it really did, didn't it?
Oh yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, it's a good place to wear.
Yeah.
And I left and I went on my own for a while.
Yeah.
Just going to stop.
When I was a ticket lad and it was a Christmas time, all the drivers, all the 12 of them, give me 5 shillings, and it was a lot of money then. And there was one day, one Christmas Eve I think it was, I was walking through and Mr. Shaw come through. He was the chief engineer at the ice company. I got on well with him. I think he took to me a little bit. I know I shouldn't say it, but he did. And he said, now then, Colin, he says, what are you going to do with your Christmas box? And I was thinking, what the drivers give me. Oh, I said, I'm I'm going to buy my mother a present, sir. And my grandma, you know.